Hey folks, thank you for tuning in to us today. I'm your host, Peter Lerman, and welcome to the What's New to Peter Lerman Outdoors radio show. Today on the show, we're going to talk about ice fishing accessories, and pretty much everything to make your ice fishing experience the best it can be. On the show today, we're talking with Frabill Pro Brian Brosdohl. Now, I know you guys and gals are in for a treat because not only will Brian tell us about the new products at Frabill, but I'm sure he will give out a secret or two about ice fishing. And if you're a frequent listener of our show, you may remember Brian from a previous show that we did on the Aquaview camera. If you missed that episode, you may want to download or listen to it again on Spreaker.com, as Brian gave some great tips and secrets on ice fishing there and on how to use that camera. However, before we bring Brian on the show, let's take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back right after this. You're listening to What's New, the Peter Lerman Outdoors radio show on WRVOradio.com. Livingston Lures. Livingston Lures is committed to bringing fishermen everywhere innovative, technologically advanced lures designed to flat-out catch fish in fresh and salt water. With an exciting new line of crankbaits, lipless crankbaits, topwater baits, jerk baits, and wake baits, featuring a unique sound and vibration technology. Livingston Lures is set to make some real noise across the fishing industry. Hey folks, welcome back. I'm really excited to have back on the show this week Brian Brosdohl, who's Frabill Pro, to talk to us about ice fishing and the new product lines from Frabill. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Brian, most anglers know Frabill is famous for their fishing accessories, nets, bait buckets, etc. However, there's more to them than just that. What other products are in their catalog?
Well, they have a whole lineup for ice fishing, from premier fishing huts or houses, fishing rods for ice fishing, reels, and some of the new cutting-edge reels that you see, straight line reels, as well as spinning, and outerwear to keep you warm when you're running around on the ice, and gloves. So there's a whole bunch of stuff.
So, I mean, obviously, they've been around again, like we said, for years, but focusing just on the ice fishing stuff, just because it's that time of the year, let's talk about the new products they have, like their ice huts. Let's tell our listeners about the Frabill ice huts.
Well, typically ice huts are a footprint so two people can sit and fish comfortably and warm. And Freeville has flip-style huts that you could just flip and go, but they have now this year, and they debuted them last year, but there's some new ones. They have the side step entry where you could come in from the side instead of the front, and each person has their own door. Well, the side step entry is like a flip style, but sets up a little bit different. It takes two more steps. You flip it up, and then put up the poles, and you both have your own side door. What's nice about this is you don't go out the front where you could hit the heater or electronics. You go out the side, and it has a great footprint for anybody fishing for walleye, panfish, or even lake trout. If you're using longer rods in deeper water, that's a perfect house for you. But that's a Frabill sidestep entry. But add good insulation, and you don't get condensation or frost. And that's very important when you have the really cold temperatures. They have the Citadel is a lighter one, designed to be pulled by an ATV or by hand. If you want a house for a real adventure, they have the Predator. Just like its cool name, the Predator is solid. The tent fabric gets heavier and heavier. Mm-hmm. When you go to a house like this, the Citadel 600 denier, which is a real heavy fiber tent fabric. The Predator's 900 denier, and has heavy insulation and a bigger tub, so you can store your gear and hit the frozen tundra. When you're out there, there's snow waves, there's chunks of ice, and when you're going along with your snow machine or your quad, this is a house designed to take a beating, but has great room and heats very easily because of the insulation. On some days, you don't even need a heater with the sun hitting it. But it also has the side step entry, which is patented through Freeville. It's only available at Frabill. And that's another wonderful house. But if you're a pop-up hut kind of person, which is something that fits in a small space, like behind your seat or in the back trunk of a small car, and you can carry it out, a pop-up pops up like a tent. It has heavier poles and pops up and gives you a great footprint. Frabill has a whole bunch of these pop-up huts, and their maximum amount of footprint and space for a small amount of money, and it's just great if you don't have the room to store a big house with a big tub bottom. The pop-up's nice, and they fit like a backpack. There's one new one that I helped design called the Bro Hub. It's heavy duty, and it's 8x8x8, so there's a lot of room. Bunker style, which means the bottom flares out, so the hut wall is not up against your rods.
Okay.
And it weighs 39 pounds, has 600 denier fabric, and it's an insulated pop-up. That's why it weighs a little bit more, because you got a lot of insulation in there.
Mm-hmm.
But what they did different is they made the poles heavier. The industry standard's 8 millimeter on the poles.
Okay.
They made this one 11. So some of the pop-up huts, if a heavy wind blows and you don't have lines out to hold it, they'll cave in. Well, this one won't. It's so sturdy. And so you can check it out. That's a Bro Series hub. But there's double cabin styles, the great big ones, if you have a big group or a party on the ice. That one's really nice. It's a little heavier, but if you want a lot of room, you got the wife, kids, and everything going on, or if you just got a group of guys out fishing, the big headquarters is the one for you. But there's a fish house for every style of fishing.
And then, I was just going through their website the other day, actually, and you're right. There's an incredible lineup, and there's a nice hut, pop up, however you want to call it, flip style. But there's a nice hut there for everyone and every level of fishing that the person would like to do. And the really cool part about it is, as you said, you have the big sturdy ones like the Predator that I can pull beside my sled or behind my sled or my four-wheeler. And then you've got the ones that you can just put in your car and away you go. So really cool concepts, and Frabill's gone the extra further along with the one that you've designed, to provide the insulation and the sturdiness and the quality of the product that Frabill has been known to put in their accessories and stuff that I had mentioned earlier. But the really cool, and and congratulations to you for designing that or helping design that. That's phenomenal.
Well, it was a lot of fun. Anytime I could be a part of something like that, I'm out there all the time. As we talked before the show, actually my hands and my face are just red from guiding on the ice at sub-zero weather every single day. I love those houses. My clients are spoiled. I always make sure that they're warm, and they always ask before they come up, are we going to be cold? I said, you're only going to go from the machine to the house. You'll be really warm, and that's the whole thing about it. So because of my being on the ice all the time, I have the input that I need to make a sturdy house for every situation, and you'll love them if you check them out.
Right on. And let's just take a quick little side note here, and Brian will do that there. But how would people get a hold of you for guiding?
Just go to brosguideservice.com or look me up on Facebook. Come over to Facebook and check out. You can see everything that's going on. I keep a schedule on there usually. Guiding's up and down, but whenever I do my touring, there's a schedule, and check that out. And there's an airport not too far from me. If you're coming from a great distance, you can fly in, and we'll pick you up and take you out. Excellent,
perfect. So, folks, make sure you check them out. Talking to Brian there a few times over the phone, and Brian does know his stuff, and if you're really into ice fishing and you want to do it very comfortably, obviously Brian's the guy to get a hold of. So Brian, you'd also mentioned, Frabill does, they have the new concept reels and stuff like that. You want to get into that, and let's talk about. So now that we've got the hut and we're ready to go fishing, what else do we need?
Well, you want a good fishing rod for ice, and a good rod. When you go into the retailer, sometimes you get overwhelmed. There's a whole bunch of rods, but there's a lot of rods that are just designed for a certain price point. Freeville designs rods to be technique specific. So when you go there, you can find a rod for trout, you can find a rod for walleye, for crappie, for jumbo perch. There's rods designed for everything. And, from the Ice Hunter series to the Bro series, the ones I designed, 13 new rod combos, their actions, they are perfect. Just like a open water rod, they bend at the tip. They can be fast or extra fast or slow taper. In other words, the lure works perfect under. If you're using a heavy lure on a soft rod, you're not going to get good jigging, good snap to it, and you won't be able to set the hook on a big predator fish. But you want to match the rod to the weight of the lure you're using, and the Bro Series rods have that. But now there's a new reel out. Straight line is a way to keep your line from spinning, and using reels similar to a fly fishing reel, a center pin reel, we've designed straight line, and that's one of the things that I brought to ice fishing. Straight line was my concept 6 years ago, and actually working on it 7 years ago with the engineer. We brought out a bunch of reels. Well, 6 generations later, we have the best, and this is a benchmark. It actually reels in 22 inches of line every one turn.
Wow.
This is the 371 straight line, so it's 3.7 to one turn. And it free spools, has a clutch drag system, and you can check it out. This is a 371 straight line. So this keeps your lure from spinning. When you're jigging and a big walleye comes up and you pause, this will keep your lure from spinning, but it's different, it's unique, and when you're free spool, it's like a bait caster.
Right.
You could adjust it to control how it free spools. So it's something to get used to, but it's not just for panfish, it's for every kind of fish. And you'll love it. It's a home run. I've been using them now for years and years. It's not the only way to go all the time, but if you're in a situation where you've got wary fish, clear water, you're using spoons or jigs. I use regular summer jigs sometimes in the winter with a minnow or a piece of plastic, and you don't want it spinning when that fish comes up for the moment that they're going to hit. But spinning reels are still good. I use them for live bait fishing. You'll notice this year on some of the rods there's a black rubber band looking strap. Well, it's funny they call it the Bro Band, but it's a live bait tethering device, and it comes with the dead stick and all the walleye rods. This is a little piece of rubber with a little finger that you can lift it up. You tuck your line under it and open the bail of your spinning reel. When a fish hits, it can pull the line out and run. Now, without that little band, if you open your bail, your lure falls to the bottom, or your minnow falls to the bottom. Mm-hmm. Well, this, with a bail of your spinning reel open, will keep your bait off the bottom. So it replaces a bobber. So if you're outside fishing, you could just set this on a bucket, tuck the line in a band when you find the depth you want to fish, and when a trout or a walleye hits, it's allowed to run, so the bail's open. A simple idea, and you'll see it on the fishing rods called the Bro Band. It's on all of the heavier rods, from the dead stick to the walleye rods. And there's a variety of fishing rods, but when you go out there, check about titanium eyelets and the great tapers and technique specific, so you'll be set. That's the whole thing about it.
That's amazing, and you're right. I mean, ice fishing has gotten a lot more popular lately, and I think it's because of companies like Frabill that brought out the great ice huts and stuff. Now you don't have to. I remember when I was a kid, Dad and I'd be out in the backyard in the fall building an ice hut and then having to tow it out, and you kind of leave it there. They're not as portable as they are today, and I think ice fishing has become a lot more popular. Obviously, a lot less expensive than having to go out and buy a boat and all that stuff. But still, and companies like Frabill are coming out, and yourself coming out with great ideas and taking the freshwater or saltwater fishing technology or techniques out and making ice fishing specific species rods, like you mentioned. So that's phenomenal. Brian, when we got to stop and take a quick commercial break here, and it's always a pleasure chatting with you. I know you're a wealth of knowledge, and when we come back, let's talk about you mentioned their outerwear and their accessories. I know you and I had talked off air earlier about ice thickness and that. Let's talk about their outerwear and some of the accessories that you use when you go out on the ice. We'll be right back right after this. Lew's, building innovative products that are faster, lighter, and stronger. Lew's offers anglers a line of bait cast reels, from the BB1 Speed Spool to the new Team Lew's Light Speed Spool. If spinning reels is what you prefer, Lew's has those too. From the high-speed Spin Spool to the Team Lew's Gold Spin, Lew's has your spinning reels covered. Don't forget their line of rods and combos as well, all built with over 40 years of innovation and keying on the same principles by which Lew Childery originally founded the company, building innovative products that are faster, lighter, and stronger. Hey folks, welcome back. If you're just tuning in today, we're chatting with Brian Brosdohl, who's the Frabill Pro, and before the break we were talking about ice huts and the rods and reels that Brian helped design and engineer with Frabill, and their technique-specific and species-specific rods and reels that they have. And just before the break, Brian, we were gonna, when we came back, I said we talk about their apparel and accessories that you use when you go out on the ice.
Yes, actually, the clothing that we wear will help make your day more comfortable. Whether it's just a mild day that's relatively cold, or an Arctic blast, you want to be comfortable on the ice. And while I'm out looking and forging my way out there, I want to be comfortable. And Freeville has designed a bunch of different outerwear suits that will help you, make it through there. And not all of them are super heavy-duty warm. Some are an active style type of suit, from the I-2 to the I-3, 4, 5. And the reason they have them at different levels, some people don't want a super warm suit that they're going to sweat like crazy when they're drilling holes.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are going to stay outside all day, chase trout or big pike or walleyes around, and they want the I-5, the super warm suit for those negative degree temperatures. And so there's a different layering system, but all of their suits are built heavy duty. From the good looks of the I-2 and their ergonomic fit, the arms are pre-bent so that there's no resistance when you bend your arm. Some suits are designed for almost like mannequins. I mean, when an actual human moves in them, they pull in different areas. So you bend your knee or your elbow, and your sleeve comes up. And there's a lot of garments out there like that. The Frabill suits are award-winning. Chris Leonard designed them, and he's an architect in clothing that has won 2 awards at ICAST, and that's where the world competes for outerwear clothing. So you know you're getting the best.
Mm-hmm.
From YKK zippers to heavy denier fabric in the heavy wear areas. The knees are padded, the rear end's padded for kneeling on buckets or sitting on buckets, kneeling on the ice. Designed to keep the cold out, the water out. From the I-2 to the I-5, there's a suit there for you. And they come with this self-rescue spikes on the front. That's the key thing. And this is a first for ice fishing suits. If you do happen to go in, they're retractable spikes sitting right at your chest on both sides. Because if you have spikes, if you have them packed away in a pocket, you're done. You got to have the spikes out where you can get at them. And the suits are about self-rescue. Another thing with the Frabill ice fishing suits, if you do happen to go in and you get out, the water drains through your suit. They have a drainage system, top and bottom, that no water stays in your suit. Because getting out on the ice, you went through because you exceeded the capacity of what the ice could hold. But when you get back up, you don't want all that water, because water could add 50 pounds of weight throughout your whole suit.
That's right.
It drains out.
Mm-hmm.
So they're super comfortable, and they're designed for the human form, and they're warm, unbelievably warm. So if you're into real going out in some cold temperatures and fishing on a snow machine, the I-5 is just an awesome suit that'd be good for everything and looks good. And if you're someone that goes from a machine to a hut, then you want an I-2 or an I-3. The I-4 is a nice bridge. You'll see me wear that a lot because I'm outside a lot, and I've been out in sub-zero temperatures with the I-4, and I love it. The I-5 is super heavy duty, and I'm active, but I'm out in the super cold, so I like the I-4.
Right.
And they're classic fits. They wear nice. But you got to still be safe. That's very important.
I'm really glad you brought that out. Brian, what would you recommend?
When I'm checking the ice, see, early ice is the most work. It's always a lot of work, and if you switch legs, the work starts again. I take a Frabill ice chisel or spud bar,
mm-hmm.
and I'll pound it really hard twice in one spot. And if it doesn't go through, you could trudge forward. But so I'm constantly pounding and hammering that spud bar, and then always have rope. If you don't have, and not thin rope, you have some thick rope. Usually your anchor rope from your boat. Always have your anchor rope, because if you do go in, how are you going to get out? Anchor rope, a throwable cushion is really nice, and then drag your gear behind you on a rope. So you don't want your gear right next to where you're fishing. And for myself, I'm a big, heavier guy, and I like 4 inches of ice because you don't get any surprises. If you have 3 inches or less of ice, and then you get inconsistencies, that you got a problem. It's like a trapdoor.
Right.
But so I'll take that spud bar and I'll pound. But if I start getting enough ice where it's a little bit thick, 4 inches or greater, I'll drill. And I use a smaller drill diameter for this time of year, a 4.5-inch drill that fits right on a drill that you'd have in your garage. I have a Milwaukee drill with a Nilsmaster drill bit that you can find at most stores. And I use that just to kind of find my way. And I'm drilling my whole way to the spot. Some people will say, well, I fish miles away from shore is where my spot is. Well, every year I walk and I drill for miles, and that's the work that I put in as a guide. I want to make sure my clients are safe and I'm safe. So, and if I switch legs, it starts over. Take your anchor rope, a throwable cushion, and I always tell people, wear a life jacket underneath. Some companies have suits that float. If it's not Coast Guard certified, if it's not a real certification, yeah, the suit will float, but will you float? And it's not about sitting there floating. It's about getting out.
Right.
So wear a life jacket on underneath. Not an inflatable either, because the inflatables have pills that dissolve when you go in the water. But in ice, you could hit your head on the way down and be knocked out and be there sleeping in the water, knocked out. You'd be better off having a regular life jacket under your suit or over your suit. And it's all worth it. If you prepare, it'll never happen. If you don't prepare, the worst could happen. So be safe out there, because we want you to keep coming back and stay ice fishing.
Exactly. We want to talk to you, not about you.
Exactly. You're right.
Well, Brian, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this week. Again, I want to thank you very much for taking time away from your busy schedule to sit there and talk to us about the great products from Frabill and, the tips that you gave just now about the thickness of ice and what you do. And again, it is right? We never plan to fail, but we always fail to plan. And that is a prime example of it right there. So again, thank you. I want to wish you all the best this year in all the ice fishing stuff that you're doing, and remember to stay safe.
Well, thank thank you for having me, and good luck out there, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.
Pretty cool. Folks, this episode was brought to you by Luz, building innovative products that are faster, lighter, and stronger. George's Marine and Sports, making fun a reality. Livingston Lures, the difference is clear. Folks, take a kid fishing. They are the future of our sport, and practice catch and release. And remember, if you're out on the ice, please stay safe. As I said earlier, we want to talk to you. We don't want to talk about you. You're listening to What's New, the Peter Lerman Outdoors Radio Show on WRVOradio.com. And Lord willing, we'll talk to you again next week. Thanks for listening.